Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Now at 6, a declaration of war in the Middle East. The growing death toll in the battles between Israel and Gaza includes several Americans. Today, Jewish community leaders here in the Triangle are showing their support and calling for peace.
It's a chilly start this morning. We have some 30s on the map, and I'll show you what our temperatures will get closer to normal and what that will feel like.
Fire breaks out at a car shop in Raleigh in the early morning hours. What investigators are saying about this fire that had a major road shut down.
And you have another chance to win a huge Powerball jackpot. The grand prize for tonight's drawing is more than $1.5 billion. What did they say? $2 and a dream?
Yeah.
That's how it goes. You could win if you play today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey in for NHU.
Dreams. I'm Jeff Owen. The dreams have been shattered for months now.
I know.
For a lot of folks buying those $2 tickets. They're not going to give up on it, though. Another chance at it tonight. I don't know if we're shattering records here, but it certainly feels pretty cold out there. A little chilly as we get our Monday started, Elizabeth.
We won yesterday, by the way. $12. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Look at you go.
Lunch. Lunch. Yep. 37 in Southern Pines. It's 37 in Roxborough. It's a chilly start this morning. We've dropped down to 42 in the Triangle. It's 41 in Clinton, 40 in Goldsboro, 39 out in Rocky Valley. So these temperatures are running a little cooler than this time yesterday. So this makes this the coolest morning that we've seen so far this fall season. Our skies are clear. That sun's going to come up and brighten things up here in downtown Durham shortly, where it is currently 42 degrees. Clear skies. You can see the top of the tower lit in blue to signify clear skies this morning. We take a look at our cloud cover forecast. We're going to be pretty clear here in the Triangle, but to the north, we're going to end up with some cloud cover. You see up to the north, we have this front, a little bit of rain there across parts of Kentucky and West Virginia. We'll watch what happens as we get through Futurecast. Nice and clear and bright right now, all the way through lunchtime and into the middle of the afternoon. But then here comes the cloud cover. By 5 o'clock, we're going to see a sprinkle up around Mecklenburg County, Virginia, some clouds from Raleigh northward, and an isolated shower from Durham up toward the Virginia line. Hour by hour, it's going to be a nice cool day today, but a little warmer than yesterday. Mid-60s at lunchtime. We'll see a high of around 70 degrees. We are looking at a couple of things in the tropics that we'll share with you, show you which way those are headed coming up. Eric?
And taking a live look at traffic out there right now, it's 6:01. You can tell it's a holiday, right? Everything looking very green across all of our sensors. That little bit of backup we were seeing along US 70 business, that's cleared up in the last few minutes. And otherwise, everything looking great out there. Taking a live look now. I-40 at Farrington Road. You can see a few folks out there on the roads this morning, but things not too busy. Of course, we'll be keeping a close eye on things and let you know as it changes. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Eric. Rocket launches and gunfire are raging into a third day between Israel and Hamas militants. As you look live at Gaza City, new this morning, Israel's defense minister is ordering a complete siege on the Gaza Strip, cutting off electricity and blocking off food and fuel deliveries. New updates in the past few hours bring the death toll in Israel up to at least 700. That includes 4 Americans. At least 400 people are dead in Gaza after Israeli retaliations, and the UN says more than 120,000 people in Gaza are displaced after airstrikes that destroyed housing units. The rampage in Israel included an assault on a music festival where attackers killed more than 250 people. The Biden administration and Senate leader Chuck Schumer say the U.S. will give Israel all the help it needs to repel the attacks.
And Michelle, some of that support is already on its way. The U.S. military is moving ships and aircraft closer to Israel. U.S. officials say although they are taking action immediately, some of these assets will not be in place for several days. They're also working on a plan to help evacuate Americans from Israel. As of right now, nothing has been decided, but officials say it may involve putting some Americans on Navy ships to get them out of there safely. And today, groups across the Triangle here are coming together to show their support as well. WRAL's Laura Levine is live in Raleigh this morning. Laura, this is hitting close to home for a lot of folks, and we're also hearing from Americans who are in Israel right now.
Jeff, good morning. Right now, I'm standing outside and in front of the David R. Kahn Community Campus, where one of those events will gather here today. I just heard back from a rabbi in Durham, and I want to share a message he sent me. He says it feels like everyone knows someone connected to someone who's missing, a friend, a child, a cousin. It's dreadful, he says. I also spoke with someone who was traveling with a church group from the Triangle who is in Israel right now, and he described described hearing the rockets and sirens go off while sitting in his hotel in Tel Aviv. Now, they also described seeing Israeli militant groups canvassing nearby beaches and extra law enforcement at the airport. The focal point of the violence is in southern Israel near the Gaza Strip, but the devastation reaches every person of Jewish faith. Denny Zart spoke to me by phone as he and his wife were sitting in a crowded airport. He shared what he experienced when they had first arrived for their trip.
It was very nice, calm and quiet, and then we heard some sirens and couple large explosions and some rockets going off.
So the Jewish Federation of Greater Raleigh, they're the ones who are hosting this gathering today at the David R. Kahn Community Center. There's going to be local and state leaders here as well. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
And the Palestinian community is also coming together as this conflict grows. Dozens gathered at Moore Square for a rally yesterday. The group held signs in the protest while chanting and marching through downtown Raleigh. The organizer of the rally is highly critical of Israel.
We're out here to call for a free Palestine, to demand the end of the blockade on Gaza, to demand the end of U.S. aid on giving U.S. aid to Israel, and to demand the freedom of all Palestinian prisoners.
Groups on both sides of the conflict have been holding rallies. More are expected across the area and the U.S. today.
And in less than 10 minutes, the message Senator Chuck Schumer has during a visit to China over that country's response to the attacks. We'll continue bringing you updates on this conflict as we get new developments around the clock. When we're not on the air, you can visit WRAL.com or the WRAL News app. Also new this morning, police in Durham say someone shot into a car on Interstate 85, hitting a person inside. It happened on I-85 North at the Gregson Street exit just before 5:30 yesterday afternoon. Police say the car was traveling on the interstate when someone fired at it. The person who was shot is expected to recover. Police are working to find out who fired those shots.
And we're following breaking news in Raleigh. Crews battled a fire at a car shop on South Wilmington Street earlier this morning. Brett East was on the scene in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker.
The fire broke out a little bit before 2 a.m. at this building on South Wilmington Street. Officials say there is significant damage, even though you can't see it from the roadway. Crews had to access water to fight the fire from a hydrant across Wilmington Street. That caused police to shut down both directions of the road for about an hour. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. I'm working to learn from investigators if they know what caused this fire. Brett Neese, WRAL News, Raleigh.
This morning, a woman is dead and a young person has life-threatening injuries after a home invasion in Moore County ended with a shooting. Deputies say they responded to a home on Forest Circle in Aberdeen Sunday afternoon. When they got there, they found the woman and a young person shot. Authorities believe one of the people responsible was shot by the homeowner. It's unclear if the juvenile who was shot was involved in the home invasion. Authorities say a person of interest is being questioned.
And we're working to confirm information about a report of a shooting in Raleigh. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker arrived at the scene on Orchard Knob Drive yesterday to find a heavy police presence and crime scene tape up. This is near Battle Bridge Road. We do have calls out to police and we'll provide updates as soon as we get them.
More than 11 weeks now, no Powerball jackpot winner. You have the chance to change that tonight. The estimated jackpot now sits a little bit north of $1.5 billion, third largest in the game's history. If no one wins tonight, though, that could bump up to the second largest by Wednesday. You can watch tonight's drawing live on WRAL.
Time now 6:08 on your Monday morning. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson responding to backlash over his Maui relief fund. Why he says he understands the criticism he's facing from some.
And the state fair is just days away. The final preparations happening on the fairground before the gates open Thursday.
And it's a chilly start with temperatures in the 30s and 40s this morning. After that, we're going to be a little milder, but there's a chance of rain for part of the weekend. We'll have your state fair forecast for the first weekend coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
It is 6:11 on a cool morning, 42 degrees right around the Triangle area, but we're seeing some upper 30s down around the Sandhills and up near the Virginia line. It's a clear start this morning, looking absolutely beautiful. If you're about to head out the door to walk the dogs, it's going to be feeling chilly. This is so far the coolest morning that we've seen so far this fall season. Temperature is likely to be in the low 40s around 7 and 8 a.m. and then by 9 o'clock climbing up a little closer to 50. After today, we're going to start to see our temperatures warming in the morning and in the afternoon. A lot of kids are out of school today, so if you're headed out to the playground for this afternoon, it should feel nice later on. We'll see mid-60s at around lunchtime and our high temperature right around 70 degrees. We stay dry until the end of the week. We do have a chance of a shower this weekend. I'll show you when. Coming up, Eric.
And taking a live look out there at traffic right now, things are looking very smooth this morning. Look at that. All of those sensors all across the region, very green right now. As we look out there live, I-40 US 15 501, couple of people on the road, but again, things very smooth. If you're headed into Durham at this point, our numbers are looking great. Just a slight delay coming in from Hillsborough, slight delay on NC 50, but otherwise very smooth on this Columbus Day morning. Jeff?
All right, Eric, thanks. Take it over to the conflict once again. And I can tell you Senator Chuck Schumer is in China this morning, where he is asking the foreign minister in Beijing to stand with the Israeli people. Schumer's in China, leading a bilateral delegation of 6 senators. Over the weekend, China put out a statement calling on both sides in the Middle East to exercise restraint and immediately end hostilities. Schumer said he was very disappointed by the statement because it didn't show any sympathy or support for Israel.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, I want to take you to this brand new video into our newsroom as Israeli is moving into parts of the Israel and parts of that community that was under attack by Hamas. This is near the Gaza border. This is one of the Israeli commanders reporting that Israel has now retaken control of all the communities around Gaza. Israel also moving tanks into that region over the weekend. The bloodshed is the most significant escalation of tensions between Israel and the Palestinian and Hamas in years.
And Pope Francis is calling for an end to the violence. He spoke from his window on Sunday in St. Peter's Square. He said, quote, "Let the attacks and weapons cease, please, because it must be understood that terrorism and war bring no solutions, but only to the death and suffering of many innocent lives." And the Today Show will have NBC News team coverage this morning that includes reports from Tel Aviv, Washington, and New York. Today airs right after this newscast at 7 o'clock on WRAL.
This morning, Raleigh police are trying to track down a driver who they say crashed into an apartment building and then left the scene. This happened on Navajo Drive off Wake Forest Road Sunday morning. Authorities say the driver hit meter boxes and the building itself sustained some damage as well. If you know anything about this incident, you're asked to call police.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says he understands why he's gotten some backlash over asking people to donate to his Maui Wildlife Relief Fund. Johnson and Oprah Winfrey opened the fund back in August, starting it with $5 million each and asking their fans to add to it. That led some people to question why Johnson and Winfrey didn't just donate more themselves. Johnson says that he appreciates the feedback and he will learn from the experience.
You will hear some loud explosions beginning this week if you live near Fort Liberty. Starting tomorrow, units of the 10th Marines Field Artillery Regiment and 82nd Airborne Division will hold artillery training. Demonstrations will happen daily and are expected to last until October 27th. No trainings will happen between 11 p.m. and 5 p.m. and 10 a.m. to noon on Sundays.
Fire prevention was the focus of an event in Wake Forest. The Northern Wake Fire Department held its annual Public Safety Day yesterday. The free family event featured fire engines, firefighting demonstrations, and even medical helicopters from Carolina Air Care and Duke Life Flight. This marks the start of National Fire Prevention Week, aiming to educate the public about fire safety.
A lot of what we're trying to do here is show folks that some of these things take time to develop. And kind of just walk people through it. As a lot of people say, well, what takes so long to get the water going to the fire? Well, when you see this kind of operation, and it's usually done in less than 5 minutes, so it's a very efficient operation, but it does take a little bit of time.
They make it really kid-friendly, and it's basically like an accessible way of getting out as a family, having fun things for them to do, but they can also learn something, and they can feel a part of their community. I think that's important.
National Fire Prevention Week is a tradition dating back to 1927.
155th North Carolina State Fair opens on Thursday. Preparations are in full swing. Talk about traditions here. The ride inspections will begin tomorrow. The fun gets started when the gates open Thursday at noon. Be sure to stop by our WRAL tent near Dorton Arena and meet some of your favorite WRAL family members. We'll all be out there at various times. 6:17 is the time right now. We go to Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Fair weather, what do you think?
You know, it looks pretty good on Thursday. I'll show you what we're watching for Thursday and the weekend. Doesn't look like we're completely scot-free here, but right now we are certainly. Goldsboro, Fayetteville, Apex, Chapel Hill, all clear this morning. Chilly temperatures at Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. We have a flow coming out of the north that's brought our temperatures into the upper 30s to low and mid 40s. But here comes our next system, and this is going to swing through this evening. Most of you won't even notice it. We're nice and dry, clear this morning. We'll pause it there at lunchtime where we're still clear, but then disturbance swings by to the north. Around 5 o'clock, you could notice some cloud cover from Raleigh northward and a few sprinkles up near Mecklenburg County, Virginia. During dinner time, during the evening, there could be a few sprinkles, and then overnight also just a little bit of light patchy rain. It's not going to be enough to keep you from having to water if you're dry, and look who's dry. South and west of the Triangle area, we've only seen 35% of our normal rainfall in the last 30 days, but from the Triangle area north and east, it's a little better situation. We're mainly above normal by as much as 125% to almost 150% of normal. So a quick sprinkle for today. We also have the chance of a sprinkle potentially in our southern counties on Thursday. Let's take a look. We're going to jump out and start Thursday morning at 8 a.m. There's going to be a tropical disturbance that's down to our south. Not that it's going to be a tropical storm, but just some tropical moisture to our south. This version of Futurecast keeps us very dry, but some of the versions are pushing a little bit of that moisture into our southern counties. So we'll watch that. Friday morning, a little cloudy, but Friday afternoon looking nice and dry. Friday's going to be a pretty nice day at the fair, but then a cold front comes swinging through, and it may be dry in the morning, but we're looking at some wet conditions potentially during the afternoon. So I'll look at the first 3 days of the fair. On Thursday, we're going to be watching to see if we need to tweak that. It'll be partly cloudy, but hopefully the rain stays down to the south. It'll be warm at 80 degrees. Friday, partly cloudy, 76, and then Saturday, increasing clouds with a chance of showers the second half of the day. Tropical outlets, still some stuff going on. 80% chance that this wave off the coast of Africa develops. It would most likely spin up into the Atlantic, and then just a 10% chance that this develops and moves northward, but we'll keep our eye on it. The next name on the list is Sean if we see that African wave developing. 77 for tomorrow, 80 on Thursday. On Saturday, 77 degrees. We do have that chance of showers. Of course, Eric, everybody loves it when it's dry for the whole state fair, but it rarely happens that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of state fair. We need a lot of good weather to make that happen.
We do.
And you know what? That is a nice forecast. But as nice as that forecast is, this might be even nicer if you're out there on the roads this morning. All those sensors are picking up is green right now. Looking at your drive times here, if you were coming into Durham, things looking very nice, no delays there. And if we look over at Raleigh, it's the same story. Again, no delays. Of course, it is a holiday morning, so I think a lot of folks are probably keeping it nice and quiet, staying home today. But we'll keep an eye on things, see if they change. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Eric. Sanitation workers in Rocky Mount are rallying for a raise. There's showdown with the city after workers in other departments got pay hikes.
And this is not a scene from the movie Old School. It is Will Ferrell. He got the party started at a college football tailgate this weekend. We'll tell you what brought him up to the turntables. Coming up in What's Trending.
Oh, man, he's so funny. Here are your winning lottery numbers. Good luck.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Today in What's Trending, Taylor Swift skipped the Kansas City Chiefs game this weekend. Didn't stop her from being on top of everyone's mind, though.
No, Travis Kelce's performance was the talk of social media. Kelce went down with an injury in the second quarter as he hobbled to his feet and went into the locker room to be checked out. Fans on social media were blaming his injury on what they called the Taylor Swift curse. But Kelce was able to shake it off, and he came back into the game in the third quarter where he did catch a touchdown pass. I mean, listen, people are saying it's a curse. She's not there, so, they don't play as well. But he came out and he did fine.
Yeah, that's a made-up thing. He scored a touchdown after and came back, and he was fine. You shared an interesting viewer habit that's becoming the norm with that game. What'd you do?
Well, I'm a big football fan, but I did turn on the Chiefs game to see if Taylor Swift was there. I was like, I just want to know. I want to know if she's there. She wasn't there, so I turned it off.
Confessions right here. Old School, the movie, came out 20 years ago. Will Ferrell, though still in the frat life, he jumped into a frat tailgate party before USC's game this weekend, DJ'd a couple of songs. He wasn't at the school just to party, though. His son, Magnus, is a sophomore at USC.
Oh, boy, and his friends love the fact that they are friends with somebody whose dad is Will Ferrell.
As long as he didn't go streaking to the quad, I think they're fine.
He's so funny.
Oh,
they're having a great time.
What a great scene. Can you imagine?
No, I can't. Well, a huge display of carved pumpkins has become a Halloween tradition in one Rhode Island community. You have to see this. Tim Perry has been carving craft pumpkins at his home for the last 15 years. He calls it the House of 1,000 Pumpkins, even though he now has nearly 1,400 of them. He puts them out every October and enjoys the crowds that gather to see them.
I get tons of great remarks. Everybody thanks me for doing it. They say I'm the best thing in the neighborhood. They look forward to it every year.
And the display also serves as a fundraiser for cancer relief after Perry's wife was diagnosed just 2 years ago.
Movie audiences looking for a fright as Halloween approaches. The Exorcist Believer took the top spot at the box office in its opening weekend and made more than $27 million, beating out kid favorite Paw Patrol, the mighty movie. It dropped to number 2 after just a week at the top. And another horror movie, Saw X, which is Saw 10, took the 3rd spot.
Take a look at this beautiful sunrise just beginning. We have clear skies all across the viewing area. That may not last through the weekend, though. I'll show you when we'll have our next chance for rain coming up.
And an early morning fire causes damage to a Raleigh car shop. What investigators are saying about this fire?
And we're following new developments in the war in Israel as you look live over the Gaza skyline, the support the U.S. is offering, and how the Jewish community in the Triangle is coming together and responding.